Hello everyone, and welcome back to Warships Blitz with Terry. Like I said, this week and the next are, if you've missed the channel update, are going to be a bit short on videos because I am super busy with all kinds of house shenanigans. So we'll see what I get done in terms of videos. But it is weekend right now, the previous weekend. I know this is all very confusing, but I generally record on the weekends. I am just too busy to get a lot done at the moment. So, what are we going to do today then? Well, today we are going to have a bit of Seattle gameplay. And the reason I did that is because I've been talking a lot about, utility and support cruisers and these kind of things. And the Seattle is a really good example. So I've got two battles for you today. Both in the Seattle. And the first one, we are on Cage Center Control, and I think the second one was also on Cage. It's a 4v4. We're up against Essex, Montana, Plymouth, and a Z-52. So off we go. Obviously, as a Seattle, we have radar, we have sonar, and we have a pretty good AA. So on a center control map, what we want to do is obviously chase the Z-52, try to set fire to everything else and deal with planes. Obviously with 3 bots in each team, the bots are going to be rushing forward aggressively, so you do have to be a little bit careful because even though they're just bots, if it's like a bot Yama or something, it can still very much hurt you. So you do have to watch out a little bit. You also can't necessarily expect the bot destroyers to go cap, but the first thing I'm going to be doing is head towards the center because, as you can see, the enemy carrier is coming straight down the center. Now, the carrier most likely is going to start targeting the bots because the bots don't damacon. So any floods and fires are going to stick, which means carriers against bots can rack up like stupid amounts of damage. So as soon as I get myself underneath this airstrike, I'm going to start popping the defensive AA and I'll just shoot a couple of planes down. And yeah, I'm not sure. He might even. Oh, he goes for the carrier snipe. Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting approach as well. Given that it's a bot-heavy game, might not be a terrible idea. There's a smoke screen over that way, and there's the Z-52. So over to the armor piercing, and Z smokes up, but just outside the capture circle. Not going to use the radar right now because that must have been a Shima smoke then. Not going to use the radar right now. Just the hydro to see if there are any torpedoes in the water, because the Z is out of radar range, and I just want him to stay out of the capture circle. I mean, the bots are going to come in anyway, but I want him to stay out of the cap. Now, the one thing with the American 150mm guns is obviously that you need to lead a little bit more. Now he's hiding behind the Izumo, so we'll switch back to the high explosive, but he is coming out, so back to the armor piercing. There's also the Plymouth, so I do have to watch out a little bit. Z has stopped and is trying to hide behind the Izumo, but he is not. He's not particularly successful about it. So I am not going to push much further at this point because, well, there's a Plymouth and the carrier is actually coming after me, which is good because I can damage control. A couple of shots out at the Plymouth. Z is going behind. Double fire. I will damacon, but that means I need to be very careful with the inevitable torpedo drop, such that I'm not going to get on permaflood. So the Z actually has come out. I was thinking that he was not going to. So there come the torpedo bombers, put her in reverse, full turn, and try to dodge as many torpedoes as possible while maintaining fire at the Z. And I did have a heal ready, so we used that. Fortunately, no flooding, because we've only taken 2 torpedoes. The bot Yama is pushing forward through the capture circle, obviously, because bots will literally just push forward. But he's been taken out, so we're still in the process of holding the capture circle. Now, getting the Z killed would be nice. I think, is he going to move forward? And I do have to dodge underneath. No, he is actually in reverse. I have to dodge underneath the Plymouth. Z smoke is still a little bit far for radar, but the Plymouth is coming under air attack, and the Plymouth is shooting at me, but he's mostly missing. So once again, enemy carrier seems to be targeting the bot now, and Plymouth is smoking up as well, which means at this point I can start using the radar. I do have a lot of radar, but you know, now I can catch both of them, and I can shoot over this island, but I need to slow down now. And I'm still getting some shots into the Z, but he's booking it behind the other island, and I now have Plymouth problems. So Plymouth is shooting at me. Bot Fletcher is not a threat. So fire out at the Plymouth, and it looks like the Z is actually coming out. So Hydro up. Team calls out the Z. I agree. So let's give him a good news into the side, and while shooting some more planes down, and it looks like, yeah, our Freddy takes out the Z. Well done. And now we just have to contest with the Plymouth. And again, the bot Fletcher we can pretty much ignore because bots don't torpedo an awful lot, so they're not a huge danger. But as you can see, also I've been mostly using my armor piercing because the American armor piercing is actually pretty good, especially at close range. The carrier once more seems to be now focused on other things, and the Plymouth has run into the island, I think. So that next salvo should actually catch him. And there he goes. Okay, Plymouth is done for. That just leaves a bot Fletcher. There's one battleship who hasn't gone into the cup, which means we are severely leading on points. Carrier takes out the Fletcher. Our Friedrich is relatively low on hit points, so we might be losing the Friedrich, and we're definitely going to use that Yamato there. But there's the Essex in range, so oh yeah, especially that the Friedrich is shooting at the Essex. So yeah, that Friedrich is dead. He's got the carrier sickness. I can't reach anything else, so I might as well shoot at the carrier. Yeah, as predicted, the Yamato is done for. But yeah, enemy Essex, he's realized that he can't really do anything. I'm surprised the Friedrich is still alive. I'm not sure what that enemy battleship is doing over there. But I'm getting relatively close to the carrier. I'm just going to see if I can set a fire. But yep, there's a fire. He damage cons, couple more fires, maybe. Well, damage cons on cooldown right now. So we're just going to use the AP at this range because that's probably going to do a little bit more damage and just whittle him down because he's not going to survive very long. So shots out into the Essex, and we'll just hunt him down. Okay, Friedrich der Große is dead as predicted. And yeah, the Yamato has died as well, but we do have enough. We still have our carrier. We still have the Shimakaze down south. So that battleship is unlikely to be able to pull that off. So I can take down the enemy carrier, and then back to the high explosive and turn the ship around. But the cap has always been secure because that battleship, whatever it was, hasn't gotten anywhere near it for most of the game. So as long as the carrier is inside the capture circle, which he doesn't need to be, he's actually going a bit aggressively there, I think. And he might have just realized that, but the Shimakaze is going in for a suicide run, and it's okay, because we're so far ahead on points, there's no way that the enemy team is still going to win, so you might as well have some fun. And now it's the Montana. The Montana actually takes out the Shima, but Shima has dropped a lot of torpedoes on him, and I'm not sure if he's... Yeah, no, that was it. And we still come out of top of the team. We haven't done an awful lot of damage, but that's also not what the Seattle is for. The Seattle is for control. She's there to negate smoke screens. That's why I did this relatively aggressive rush into the center in order to get the Z and the Plymouth spotted inside their smokes. And it's there for air defense as much as possible. And yeah, as you can see, the enemy team has done some damage, but in the end, they've never managed to control the capture circle, and we came out on top. So let's go again. And this time around, it's actually a 5v5. So we are up against no carriers. We're up against Yamato, Des Moines, Kronstadt, Gearing, and Chungmu. And that means, once again, capture center control and cage. That means we're going to be doing pretty similar work. The ones that we obviously have to watch out for are the big guns. So Des Moines definitely outguns us if she can get in range. Kronstadt, obviously, and yeah, we don't have to talk about Yamato. But I do need to keep an eye on the destroyers, and we will try to maintain capture control, because the the angles on the 150 mils on the American light cruisers are relatively high, so we can often shoot across islands, especially that island that we're heading towards. I'm just lining the guns up at this point. That island we're heading towards, you can kind of be inside the capture circle and also shoot over the island. So it's always quite, it can be quite useful for these sort of things. I mean, you could stay just completely out of the capture circle, but that negates a lot of the positive effects that you're having, because you are having a radar, and it's a good radar as well. And one of the uses that you have for your team is to spot things that can smoke up, like that American destroyer. And the bot's trying to push me here, but yeah, I don't want to. Okay, there's the Chungmu, and we're just gonna get into the capture circle. And then line up some shots. I have the AP loaded because, well, destroyers. Hydra up and just trying to get some shots out at the Chungmu. Now, at this long range, you're not going to hit an awful lot. He's, I think he is within radar range, so let's pop the radar. Yep, he is within radar range. And he's trying to torpedo a bot, which is generally not a great idea because bots have magic torpedo dodging powers. But he's trying to get further into his smoke. It's not a problem that you're sitting in your smoke. I think that first it was a problem of being radared, and now my radar is down, but since he's sitting still, I know where to shoot him. We've dodged the torpedoes, and he's still not moving from his position, so we keep hammering. Now he's moving, okay. So now he's on relatively low health. And as a destroyer, don't underestimate the bots, but I need to get back into the capture circle. There comes some, I think, gearing torpedoes. The gearing is sitting behind the island, and our friendly gearing is running away because he's lost a lot of hit points. And that Des Moines is probably going to be the next target. So we do have to keep an eye on the Kronstadt and on the Yamato. But no one seems to be shooting at me right now. There is a bot coming from behind. I'm just going to ignore it. Oftentimes, the bots are not necessarily the primary targets. You should focus on the players first if you can. And we're trying to get this Des Moines. He ran into some torpedoes. So he's the biggest threat for our destroyers. And that gearing is very, very brave, doing that to a Des Moines. Now he killed the bot, so he's probably got nothing better to shoot at than the gearing. So I'm not so sure that was a wise move, especially on this low health. So I'm going to try and see if I can help out. And now the Kronstadt takes out the gearing, but the Des Moines is dead. So we can get some shots off at the Kronstadt. We are currently holding the capture circle, which means that I am probably alone here. I'm not sure. I know that the Chungmu was somewhere around there. He was on my left. The Kronstadt is sailing away from the cap. So that's always the thing, right? If the enemy team doesn't focus on the capture circle, so we're going to go turn around a little bit and see if we can spot anything, while maintaining presence inside the capture circle. Okay, there's the Yamato. So he hasn't seen me, obviously. Put her in reverse, and keep a wary eye on that Chungmu, who's going to be somewhere around. I do have some island cover in case there are torpedoes coming. So now I'm just trying to set the Yama on fire. And now we are losing the capture circle. I dodged the Yama shots, so I'm going to have to try and get back in there and at least contest it. Oh, now that's the gearing is in there. Okay, gearing was here as well. Forgot about the gearing, right? So Chungmu somewhere on my right, gearing right straight ahead. Yama is a problem, but gearing is right now a bigger problem. Now you don't want necessarily to come into a close range fight with a destroyer because you don't have torpedoes. So I'm using the island to shield myself from the Yama shots while I'm turning around. Use the sonar to spot the gearing. He's close enough. And it looks like he's going to rush me, so full ahead. And just get some shots out. Now I can't dodge into the torpedoes because A, he's too close, and B, there's a Yamato. So I'm probably going to take a torpedo or two here. But I can put the radar up so he can't hide in his smoke. And still use my rear turrets. Yeah, we've taken one torpedo there, I think. Let's dodge the other ones. And we have lost the capture circle. The rest of my team is at the other end of the map. So we are ahead on points, but not by much. Now gearing has gone undetected. There's Ibuki. And there's also Yamato. At this range, I should hopefully be able to dodge the Yama shots. Let's see if we can get that Ibuki dispatched. Because we're still ahead on points, but obviously not for an awful lot longer, and that's a lot of hit points on the Yamato. I don't know how many HP our our team has, but friendly Hindenburg takes out the Ibuki. Good. There's still the gearing smoke. So I'm going to have to try and get back into the capture circle. Now the problem is there's a Yamato. And there's still a gearing. And that Chungmu is still somewhere out there. So I'm going to have to risk, because everything's on cooldown, I'm going to have to risk sailing into the cap circle. Okay, Yamato isn't shooting at me. So over to the HE. Gearing went probably behind the center island. That's usually the destroyer position. Chungmu last seen like half the game ago, somewhere on my right. So once again, keeping islands between myself and Yamato isn't shooting at me. So I can sort of risk, yeah, he isn't even pointing his guns at me. So I can risk that. Yeah, there comes some Chungmu torp. So he's still over there. There's the gearing smoking up to let me know where he is. I'm not sure why, but thank you very much. Wasn't really any need to smoke up. But let's help out with the Yamato. And then we just have the Chungmu and the gearing. We are ahead on points, but not by much. And we're not holding the capture circle because it's only me in here. And Yamato and gearing obviously holding the cap. Hindenburg is about to die, but I think he torpedoed the Yamato, so he takes him out with him, which is actually a good trade because the Yamato is worth more than a Hindenburg. So now it's down to myself, and we're ahead. We're 2 points ahead, but the enemy team is still holding the capture circle because it's only me in here. Radar up to get the gearing spotted, and there's also the Chungmu. Okay, so we know where the Chungmu is. And he's behind that island. Is he coming out knowing that I'm right here? Okay, hydro up. There he is. Come out, come out. And now we're capping because Monty and me together are having more cap control than the gearing on his own. I'm not sure if the gearing is coming out, but the Chungmu is coming out and we are 10 points ahead. So that Chungmu needs to die. 9 seconds to go. Dead Chungmu. Now Monty just needs to survive those torpedoes. I think it's all the torpedoes, but he gets behind the island just in time to dodge the torpedoes. Gearing isn't coming out anymore. And that is game. That took some doing. Especially if your team is extremely resistant to trying to actually control the capture circle. So it always takes some doing. But you can see how powerful these support cruisers can be in maintaining these positions and just being deterrents. And yeah, the Chungmu didn't have a choice. He had to come out because Monty was finally making it into the capture circle, and together we were capping, and we would have just about won on points. So it wasn't a win harder situation. He really had to and take his chances with the Monty. I mean, he could have tried to torpedo me, but he wouldn't have survived long enough either. So yeah, there you go. That's the power of support cruisers. You can negate smoke screens, you can hold positions, and you can shoot at things and that threaten your team. And more often than not, you can make a difference. So yeah, I love the Seattle. It's a great ship. It's really, really fun to play. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.